Welcome to Type C Tech Reviews. Today we're going to be unboxing and reviewing the ViewEdge monitor. This is under $90 on Amazon. If you want to check it out, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's get into this. Now, for 90 bucks, you might think, well, you're not getting anything special. You're getting 165 hertz, you're getting a 24-inch panel, and it's an IPS panel. I thought for sure at 90 bucks this was gonna be a VA panel, but no, it is an IPS panel. And typically with really budget monitors, usually the biggest problem is ghosting, but ghosting is very rarely an issue on IPS panels unless they're just tuned absolutely terribly. All right, so we've got some manual action going on. We've got the bottom half of the stand, which is all plastic and looks like it only has tilt. This is literally just plastic. It's literally just an empty tube, but 90 bucks, I don't care. I'll get a monitor arm. The base of the stand is unbelievably light, like kind of has like a brushed metal look to it. It is completely plastic. It's pretty light. It does have rubber on the bottom though. I think we just gotta push it down. There we go, just clicked in. Well, that's actually a pretty cool design. It's very, very light. However, I'm sure the monitor itself is pretty light. We've got one of these power bricks, which isn't my favorite, but again, 90 bucks, who cares? The panel is what we really care about. So there's our power. It also comes with a DisplayPort cable, which is nice. But now let's get to the panel itself. And there we go. Actually, not an unattractive rear. Is this also a clip-in? So we've got a 75 by 75 millimeter base mount, which you almost never see anymore, but that still fits with like every monitor arm ever. Yeah, it's like a push release. I guess this is a clip-in stand. I guess let's try it, line it up. So we set it in like this, and then it slides in and clips in. That's actually pretty dang secure. It looked like it was all plasticky, but that's pretty secure. Taking the plastic off, very light overall, but that also means you can get a cheap monitor arm. So for like, you can get a good monitor arm for a monitor like this for 30 bucks. Now you're looking at $120, monitor arm setup, 165 hertz. If this is good, that's crazy. Okay, so I actually really like the design back here. It's just flat. It actually looks very modern. Looks like we do have some included speakers, but yeah, overall pretty basic, just basic plastic. Nice, fairly squared off edges, but it feels good. It actually feels really well put together. There's no creaks, less creaks than on LG panels. We've got our classic menu system down there. We only have tilt. Let's get it up here. That is the maximum amount of tilt. So again, doing a monitor arm with this would actually not be a bad idea. Do we get any swivel? No, no swivel. For ports, we have two HDMIs, a DisplayPort, and then a 3.5 millimeter audio connection. But with that, let's get it on the desk and turn it on, see how it is. With it on the desk, let's turn it on with the power button, a little bit hard to find. Little indicator, and when you sit down, you realize how low this is. If you sit like at a normal height on a desk, the stand is too low. My eyesight goes to about here, which means the center of the monitor should be about there, and it's down here. So it needs to be about, 3 inches, 4 inches higher. So a monitor arm would do you well. However, it's definitely workable. First impressions with it up, the colors actually don't look bad. Like, it doesn't look like it's wildly off, which honestly, a lot of these like super ultra budget, non-name brand monitors, sometimes they come and they're just wonked out with colors, but this is not bad. All right, so now we're in the menu system. That looks absolutely atrocious, but again, I don't care. If everything's good, 90 bucks, like you can't beat that. All right, let's turn the brightness all the way up. That's actually not terrible. I mean, by no means is it crazy bright, but it's definitely brighter than I expected it to be. Go down here to Eco, not sure exactly what that is. Oh, these are the different game modes. Movie, text, standard, game. We're just gonna leave it in standard for now. You can change the image, which is interesting. We have the color temperatures, which is pretty cool. You actually can change that. It's already slightly changed, which is interesting. We have the OSD. We can literally change the OSD position. That's pretty cool. You can't do that on most monitors. And guys, I forgot to tell you, we have HDR here and full coverage of the sRGB color gamut. The colors, like, they don't look bad. They really, truly don't. And the white parts, let's just open Firefox here. I mean, right up here, checking the whites, the white balance actually looks pretty bang on right now. It doesn't look crazy off. That's pretty impressive. Let's go to display settings. It's doing 1920 by 1080 right now. It does have a matte finish. It's not crazy thick either, which is great. Let's go down in here, check the refresh rate, push it to 165 hertz. The fact that this is an IPS panel, 165 hertz, that's crazy. Like, this is an insane time that we're living in. Yeah, it's nice and smooth. It does rock a lot when I do that on the desk, but that doesn't matter Like the value here seems to be extreme, guys. We're under $100 for an IPS panel, 165 hertz. That's crazy. Before we test anything else, let's go in and let's test ghosting, because that's traditionally where these budget monitors just fall short. And looking at this right away, there's definitely ghosting, definitely present, but it's not even close to as bad as most VA panels, even that are, you know, significantly more expensive than this. So we also have, I forgot to also mention, we have FreeSync, which is kind of crazy. So let's go in here, turn FreeSync on, and in some situations, actually turning variable refresh rate on can actually change your ghosting pretty substantially on some monitors. And on this one, it actually did that. It did significantly decrease the ghosting already. Like, while it does have present ghosting, it is good enough where it's, yeah, that's pretty impressive. Okay, so when we turn adaptive sync, our overdrive settings seem to be turned off, which is interesting. And maybe that in turn is why the ghosting was down rather than it actually being changed by variable refresh rate. They might have just preset the overdrive setting for when you turn on variable refresh rate and the FreeSync, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna try actually turning that off, and then we're gonna try the overdrive settings. Oh, it's either on or off. I love that, it's hilarious. Yeah, so when you turn it on, it decreases it by a significant amount, still present. It's really not that bad. For what this is, for a lot of people, if you're used to VA panels, if you're in this price range, you probably have something that's doing significantly worse ghosting than this. That's cool. We're gonna just turn FreeSync on though. There's no reason not to have it on, especially because this panel may be prone to having more screen tearing because of the price, but for the price point, that's crazy good. All right, let's go into NVIDIA control panel, see what this thing can do. We're at 1920 by 1080, 165 hertz. We're gonna see if this thing can output 10 bits of color. That makes no freaking sense. How can this output 10 bits of color? They literally advertise this as having 6 bits of color. Even I was expecting for this price, it's very rare to see 6 bits of color on any monitor that's made in like the last 4 years, because almost every panel, if it is a native 6-bit panel, it'll use FRC or frame rate control to then be an 8-bit panel, and almost every monitor today is an 8-bit panel that uses FRC to be a 10-bit panel. There's very, very few native 10-bit panels, but this is outputting 10 bits of color. They advertise it as 6-bit, but we're able to output 10-bit. Maybe it's a glitch. We're at least getting 8 bits of color. That's cool. Text clarity and PPI, 1920 by 1080 on a 24-inch monitor is good here. You guys know it's the same as 1440p on a 32-inch panel. All right, but let's hop in game. Jumping right into game, 165 hertz looking nice. Now, I daily a QD OLED, so basically at like the top of the market. That's the best of the best right now. And colors here are obviously not as good as my QD OLED, for sure. They are a little bit more dull. The colors here, the greens are not quite as vibrant, right? They're definitely not as vibrant. This also doesn't have really any wide color gamut. It's just the sRGB. However, we do have some control over saturation, so you can kind of artificially boost some stuff. And the brightness here is not bad. For 90 bucks, this is way better of an experience than I was expecting. And it's pretty crazy that at this point in time, 90 bucks, guys? I mean, I've said that about like $200 monitors before, but this is truly under $100. As far as like screen tearing, I mean, we do have FreeSync on and no screen tearing, no weird artifacting. This is kind of insane. And the fact that this even has HDR capability. I'm not expecting it to be good. It's probably not going to be good, but the fact that we can do it means we should do it. So let's test it out. I don't know if we just go straight into here. It looks like, yeah, we just go straight into here, turn HDR on. That doesn't look too bad. Let's actually see if we can go through the HDR calibrator really quick. All right, so we just finished the calibration. We are now in HDR. And after putting it through the calibration, this thing looks, I'm not even kidding, guys, downright good. There's no chance that you could tell me that this is even under 150 bucks. I wouldn't believe you. That's how good this looks after, you know, a calibration from Windows Calibrator. I mean, this isn't like anything crazy here. All you have to have is Windows 11. Colors look nice and vibrant, probably not super perfectly accurate, but even the whites, like all the white here does not look crazy off, like at all. It looks pretty good. We do have some loss of detail for sure, but we could probably just do another calibration. I'm just gonna try switching it between HDR and then switching back to HDR. I mean, even just on desktop, it looks really good. It looks better. That significantly improved the image. Let's try Battlefield 1 again. Damn. Jumping in now in HDR, a significant improvement with color. The green around here, significant improvement. Even the reds and the fire over there looks really, really good. I did not think HDR was gonna be worth it on a panel like this. Obviously, like we're not talking about a real HDR experience. This still has the contrast ratio of an IPS panel. The colors here get a significant boost, but you gotta use that Windows calibrator, the HDR calibrator. It's free though, so there's no reason not to use it. This is really quite something with the HDR. I mean, you can see the greenery here looks much better. Hopefully you can see that. And we're still getting kills. It is surprising how enjoyable using this panel is. Honestly, I was thinking that the colors were just gonna be absolutely atrociously bad, and they're just not. I mean, just looking around, while it's not beautiful like a lot of monitors, right? It doesn't have a super wide color gamut or anything like that. It's not like it's ugly, and that's usually the case for a lot of these like super budget friendly monitors. And I'm not talking 90 bucks, I'm talking like in the 150, $200 region. So this is beyond impressive to me. Let's see if we can get some sniper kills here. There we go. There's 2. There's 4. I mean 3. It's a good old time, and it's 90 bucks. I mean, what an amazing time to be getting into gaming. Holy crap. Like before, while it was playable, it wasn't enjoyable. This is enjoyable. We're not having any crazy ghosting here or screen tearing. We're just having a good old time and just getting some sniping kills at 165 hertz. Don't let anyone tell you that 165 hertz is not enough to game on. Well, you can. You don't need 240 to be competitive. It's super nice to have, but for 90 bucks now, guys, you can have a really enjoyable gaming experience. I think that concludes it. Should you buy this gaming monitor? If you're in the market for a high refresh rate panel, if you don't even have a high refresh rate panel yet, or if you're like on an older VA budget panel, or you're building a new setup, maybe you're a new PC gamer, this is a freaking phenomenal way. You're not gonna go wrong with 90 bucks. IPS panel, 165 hertz, colors look good, has HDR, tune the HDR, that's awesome. But again, if you wanna check it out, there are Amazon links below. But this is Type C Tech Reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next video.